What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the title of this video, 15 easy countries for Americans to move to right now. Some will surprise you. Yeah, I'm putting this out about a week after the 2024 US presidential elections, and I'm scared. I really am. And I say that as a straight white male. So, look, let me just preface this by saying moving to another country and maybe just like country hopping, that's been a bucket list item of mine for like forever. And I was going to do this stuff eventually, but with the results of the 2024 election being the way they are, I'm thinking I might should expedite that after taking a month to go across the US to visit the places I want to go, and then on the 21st of January hop in a plane and not looking back for at least 4 years. So I don't know if I don't know what'll come of it, but all I know is I would like to watch this video with all of you to get not only an idea of like the places I could go, but get more, what's the right word, more opinions on the matter. That way, people who are either American expats that have done the thing, or you live in a country that is on either on this list or is not on this list, I'd love to hear y'all's opinion on it. So let's get the conversation going here. Three. Who is this, by the way? So I've watched a few of their videos. This is Amelia and JP Abroad. They do a lot of good job of videos for American expats on where to go. So give them some love. I keep pointing over the screens over here. They are over there. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
This may be one of the most important videos we've ever done on our channel because we're going to tell you 15 different countries that are super easy to move to if you're an American and you're finally ready to get the heck out of the US.
You can buy a plane ticket today and move there tomorrow if you want to.
Before we dive in, though, I wanted to have Amelia explain the methodology that she used to choose these 15 countries. This list is all on her.
Oh, okay. Well, for better or worse, right? Well, I wanted to choose countries that have a strong and long-term expat community, meaning they've already paid the way for you guys, so it should be easier to go there and get settled in. That they are affordable, meaning they have a medium to low cost of living, and that you do not need a really big deposit to apply for a residency visa. I also was looking for quality of life factors, so making sure there's things for you to do, that they have good health care, that it's walkable, things like that. And very important, that they have multiple visa options and that they also have a good tourist visa. And another important factor, and actually this was, I think, my most important factor, was can you go on a tourist visa and then apply inside the country for the residency visa if you want to. One thing to keep in mind is that
Okay. So this is a good list here. Strong expat community, having like-minded individuals around helps. Even though part of traveling, an appeal of it to me is putting yourself in places that you don't know too much about and learning about it. And that's the whole point of this channel and the main channel, Embrace the Suck 21. And but yeah, everything else in here, good so far.
apply inside the country for the residency visa if you want to. One thing we are just requirements, so make sure to do your due diligence before you book any plane tickets, because by the time you're watching this video, things could have changed. Some of the visa options are changing fast and furiously.
Yeah, they do.
Fast and furious.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of my research on like what countries have certain visas. Like I know in the UK, at least as of right now, November 2024, you can that country for 6 months without any type of visa. So that's something I'll be looking out for with these countries.
seriously, yes, they change often. So better to be safe than sorry.
All right, let's dive in, Amelia. We're going to start with number 15, and that's Belize, a country that we hardly ever talk about.
So you can go there on a 30-day tourist visa. So it's a little bit more restrictive. However, you can go there for 30 days. And once you're in the country, you can apply for their retirement visa, which they call the QRP. And they also have a digital nomad visa. So they do have two different options. The income requirement for the retirement visa is $2,000 a month. And for the digital nomad visa, it's $75,000 per year. And for one, you have it in general, you need 50% more for your dependent visa.
So why might you want to look at Belize? Well, I was there about 20 years ago. It's a beautiful country, and it's known for its chill beach life. It's got beautiful beaches and great for diving. It's affordable, which is nice. We like affordable. There are lots of expats there already, so they've kind of blazed the trail for you. It's an English-speaking country, so you don't need to learn a foreign language since it's a British colony or a former colony. It's known for its freedom lifestyle, so they kind of stay out of your business.
There are some downsides to consider. It's a small country and it's not as developed. Some of the infrastructure is lacking and they do have some pockets of crime. The travelstate.gov website rates it at a number 2. So it's like most of the other countries out there in the world, but you do need to watch where you're going. But most importantly, that if you want to get permanent residency in Belize, they have a very strict in college year, you can only for 14 days during that year temporary residency if you think to consider.
Number 14 on our...
Okay, Belize. I actually do know somebody that lives in Belize now. Just basically was trying to get all his ducks in a row and has now moved down to Belize. He played bass with me a couple times in 2019, and I knew a lot of the bands that he was in Maryland. So and I see all the pictures of him on Facebook all the time, and he seems like a happy camper. So there you go. That's 30 days right there. So I would plan around, staying for 30 days without a visa, and obviously I'm 32 years old, so I'm nowhere near retirement, even though that'll be questioned whether or not that will be a thing in the upcoming administration. But what I'm interested of what I'm sure this is going to come up because there's 15 countries here. Is YouTuber considered digital nomad if I continue to make reaction videos or vlogging style videos? Am I considered a digital nomad since that is my income? Please let me know.
Temporary residency if you want to, but that is definitely something to consider.
Number 14 on our list is Brazil, and we've met a lot of people here in KL from Brazil, and they told us that we absolutely have to go there. Plus, we're getting a lot of requests for that in our comments too, so I think we're gonna have to add it to our list, Amelia.
Absolutely. So the nice thing about Brazil is that you do get a 90-day tourist visa. Starting in April of 2025, you're going to have to apply for an e-visa ahead of time, so make sure to factor that into your plans. And just like other countries, you can apply for a residency visa once you arrive in Brazil. They have a retirement visa that also has an income requirement of $2,000 a month, and they do have a digital nomad visa. And for that one, let me check my notes.
It says 1,500 right there.
Oh, thank you. The income requirement for that is $1,500 a month.
Nice.
So why Brazil? Brazil has a ton going for it. It's a huge country, and a lot of people recommend the southern areas like where Florianopolis is. Brazil's got awesome culture. You've got Carnival if you're into that. I would love to go to Brazil for Carnival. The weather is nice pretty much year round. It can get pretty hot and humid, but you're not going to have to deal with snow, which is nice. They have beautiful beaches, it's affordable, and it's known for its good health care.
Just like any place in the world, there are some downsides. In my opinion, one of those is that you have to learn Portuguese. And I only say that because we've already been studying Spanish. I don't have anything against Portuguese, but you may not want to learn that language. If you want to live in a bigger city, the cost of living is probably going to be higher. And there are areas where the crime is higher as well. But the travelstate.gov level 2.
Number
I've done a lot of Brazil videos, EG, and that's a place to live. Like for me as a single man, I would love Cartagena, and There's another person that I follow, like Skylar something, like a big passport bro type person, but provides a lot of good information for the single man. Has said a lot of good things about Brazil, and I don't mind living out in like a country area. I'm used to living out in country areas as long as the internet's good. I can do that whole digital nomad thing, which seeing Brazil's requirements for the digital nomad, if I do qualify, I can make that work with Brazil
as well, but the travelstate.gov website ranks it as a level 2.
Number 13 on our list is El Salvador. This is the first time we've really talked about El Salvador. A lot of people have been suggesting that we go there. It was one of the most dangerous countries in Latin America until a couple of years ago when they got their new president. He's really turned things around from a safety perspective, and now it's one of the safest.
I am very pleased for the El Salvadorians because I know that they are a lot happier with their quality of life, and that is another reason why they're on different residency popular. For retirement, we need only $1,100 a month in income. Then they have their rentista, which is a passive income visa, and for that you need $1,500 a month. And they also have a digital nomad visa, and for that you need $1,450 a month.
So why El Salvador? Well, we already talked about the safety improvements there. It's a beautiful country. It's kind of been overlooked for a long time, and there's a lot to see and do there. It has a really low cost of living, and if you're into the crypto world, they are the first country in the world to accept Bitcoin as an official currency.
They are still developing, so that is a potential downside. Plus, you're definitely going to need to learn some Spanish.
All right, next up on our list.
All right, El Salvador. Yeah, we put a reaction video out. One of the more recent ones. We've been kind of slacking on this channel, not gonna lie. But one of the last ones we did was Walter's World. We're talking about El Salvador and how it's like a paradise down there, minus like the little patches of crime, which are not as bad as they were 3-4 years ago before the new president came in. And Daniel himself, he's been very bullish on El Salvador as a up and coming place to vacation. So definitely keeping that in mind. And again, with the amount of price for a digital nomad visa, it's looking pretty good.
Potential downside. Plus, you're definitely going to need to learn some Spanish.
All right, next up on our list is number 12, Guatemala. And this is another surprising one. We have talked about this one a few times because it does have a really good, affordable cost of living. And we've heard from a lot of our viewers who live there and really like it.
So they also have a 90-day tourist visa, so you can easily go there from the U.S. and you can renew that for an additional 90 days. So if you don't even want to deal with a residency visa, you can go and stay there for up to 6 months. If you do want to stay for longer, then you can apply for their retirement visa or their pensionado visa. And for that, you need an income requirement of $1,250 a month.
The natural beauty is amazing.
Yeah.
It's known for its beaches and its jungles. It's the country of lakes and it has a low cost of living, so it's not going to break the bank to live there. Antigua is considered pretty safe, and there are popular spots there with expats, and it has better infrastructure.
Of course, there are downsides. Parts of the country are dangerous, and some infrastructure is lacking.
Number 11.
All right, a lot of the countries that are more appealing to me are the ones that have at least a 90-day tourist visa. And like, because I feel like that would be an indication that they're more open to tourism and to people who, are in my situation. So
Parts of the country are dangerous and some infrastructure is lacking.
Number 11 is Nicaragua, and it is in the same neighborhood as the last two countries in Central America. And we've actually heard from several of our viewers who live there as well and say they really like it.
Yes, we have heard that. You can go on a 90-day tourist visa there. You can apply for your residency visa once you are in the country. And just like Guatemala, you can apply for their pensionado or their retirement visa. And the income requirement for that is $1,250 a month. They also have a rentista visa, which is that passive income visa. And the income requirement for that is also $1,250 a month.
Yeah, since it's in the same area as Guatemala.
Now, what could somebody in the comments please define what passive income is? Like, I'm thinking like, like investments, with I guess just things that they make you money, but you're not looking at them all the time. Like, what exact does YouTube count as passive income? Because even if you're not uploading videos, they're still getting watched somehow, some way, and they're generating income if you've built up enough of a subscriber base. So anybody that could clear that up for me, appreciate that.
Requirement for that is also $12.50 a month.
Yeah, since it's in the same area, Guatemala, and benefits, beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains, jungles. You've got all kinds of nature. If you're a bird watcher, it's going to be great for you. And it's got a rich culture too, so that's kind of neat.
And it is another very affordable country, but they do have some downsides. Aren't there volcanoes all throughout that part of the world?
This is a ring of fire, so there are volcanoes, and it's quite a few in Nicaragua and Guatemala.
Yeah, so definitely if you're not a fan of volcanoes or earthquakes, you might want to cross these off your list.
Yeah, and the crime in some areas can be kind of bad too. So that's the other thing in these Central American countries. It's not as safe as some of the other ones on our list. State Department has them ranked to level 3, which is reconsider travel. But like I said, we know people who've been there recently and loved it. We know people who live there and love it. So again, just do your own research and make your own decisions.
Yeah, anybody in those Central American countries, please let me know if you've been there or you lived there, what the crime situation is. And another point I wanted to talk about is, yes, that'll be a big thing that will hinder me from going to a lot of these countries is the language barrier. I mean, I do need to upgrade my phone fairly soon, but there are a few new ones that have like a live translation thing. So hopefully I can work that. But then again, that would mean that I need to be somewhere with good internet access, and that's not always the case. So yeah, I think I better ask y'all what's the best language learning lab. I've heard like Duolingo or things like that, or Babbel. What works for you? Let me know.
That was our first 5 countries. Before we share our top 10, there's something that you will need, especially if you're going to travel or move abroad, and that is a VPN from Surfshark.
The safe while we're in an airport, always connected
By protecting
logs or collect.
Surfshark for streams are virtual.
You're going to get 4 months extra.
Just to try because they
surfshark.com/AAJP to get 4 months extra of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. Continuing our trek from north to south in Central America, Costa Rica is next on the list at number 10.
You get a 6-month tourist visa with Costa Rica, so you can stay there for a full 6 months and then just move on. If you don't want to deal with the residency visa options, you can just go to one of those other Central American countries. Or they do have a retirement visa, and the income requirement for that is only $1,000 a month.
Wow, that's low.
I know. They have the Rentista, which is your passive income visa, and the income requirement, the monthly, is $2,500, or you could do a $60,000 deposit. And they also have a digital nomad visa, and the requirement for that is $3,000 a month.
Ugh.
So Costa Rica is known for its pura vida lifestyle. It's pure life. It's amazing there. Well, we know lots of people who live in Costa Rica and love it, despite the rainy season. There's lots to do outdoors. You've got the beaches and the jungles. Again, there's a strong expat community. It's actually been popular with expats for like 25 years. So it's got a really ingrained expat community, and it's still safe mostly despite an increase in crime in some areas.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of downsides. There are parts that have definitely become much more touristy, and so those prices have gone up. And we've also heard that in the popular expat areas, the housing prices have gone up, but you can still find some affordable options there. And one of the things I like is that it is close to the U.S.
Yeah, and affordability is so relative too, because
That's true.
You're going to compare it to the U.S., it's still pretty affordable, even though some people say it's just as expensive as the U.S. now. It's not really. But compared to other countries on our list, it is more expensive. All right,
Yeah, definitely a lot more expensive. So that might price me out of my digital nomad visa. But 6-month tourist, I just move on to another one, another country afterwards. So yeah, Costa Rica, I've heard, is a lot of expats there, and we tried doing a reaction of Geography Now, Costa Rica, but nobody watched that one. So where are y'all?
US now, it's not really.
Wait, you're out in paradise. Never mind. My bad.
But compared to other countries on our list, it is more expensive. All right, number 9 on the list, going south, is Panama.
Imagine that. Like Costa Rica, Panama has a 6-month tourist visa, and you could just go and stay there. And then you can just go back and forth from Costa Rica to Panama, I suppose, if you want to, or Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And continuing on. Or you could apply for their retirement visa, and that is also $1,000 a month. They have a digital nomad visa, and for that one, you need $3,600 a year.
$36,000.
Oh, $36,000 a year. That is a big difference. That does not bring your family with you or your spouse on the digital nomad visa, and it also doesn't lead to permanent residency, so it's not for everybody.
Panama is one of the more stable countries in Central America and even in Latin America because of the Panama Canal. Everybody seems to keep their hands off of Panama. It's close to the U.S. You can get back pretty easily. Lots of expats there already throughout the country, in Panama City and along the coast, and Boquete and David are all popular areas. You have beach life and mountain living again, and they have pretty good health care.
Their infrastructure is continuing to improve. Panama actually has a lot going for it. You are going to need to speak some Spanish, and they do have some. It could be of close friends who move there and are really happy.
$1,000. So Canadian buddy. And yeah, and that's a good thing of these Central American countries, is that they're close to the United States. So if things do get better, or if I'm able to go back in, this won't be that.
Move there. We know quite a few people that move there, and they're really happy in Panama.
All right, next up is way south. We're going to go to number 8 is Uruguay.
And you can go there again on a tourist visa. That is 90 days. And then once you arrive, you can go ahead and apply for your residency visa. They do have a retirement visa. It's $1,500 a month, and it goes right into permanent residency. Panama's does that as well. I forgot to mention that in the previous segment. They do have a digital nomad visa, and with that one, they do not have the published amount, the dollar amount. It just says you need to prove that you have enough funds to live, but the general consensus is that you should at least show $1,500 a month, same as a retirement visa. And same as Panama, you cannot bring your family or your spouse with you, so they will have to apply for that separately.
So why might you want to take a look at Uruguay? Well, it's one of the most stable countries in all of Latin America. It's one of the safest countries. It's very inclusive, if that's important to you. It's got good health care and a strong expat community.
It is not the cheapest country on this list, but like JP was saying about Costa Rica, it's still much more affordable compared to the United States. There are some pockets that you definitely can find more increased prices in housing, but your overall quality of life and the affordability of the other things like food and healthcare are going to help offset that cost.
Yeah, one of the major downsides that people just don't realize, and it's really hard to comprehend, is how far away from the U.S. It's like to Montevideo from. It takes you 5 hours to get to Miami. You're looking at 14 hours of flight time. You can actually fly to Turkey from like Chicago in that amount of time. So it's a long ways away, and people don't realize how far.
Yeah, so definitely something to consider if you're thinking about going to Uruguay and making that your new home.
All right, we're done with Latin America for now.
All right. It's a little far, but then again, I'm pretty sure there's places on here that are further away that I might be considering as well. So distance really isn't that much of a important factor to me. Like, when there is a will, there is a way.
Now we're going to fly across the pond to number 7, Latvia. This is the first time we've ever talked about Latvia. I was a bit surprised to see it on the list.
This country is part of the Schengen zone, so do keep that in mind when you're planning your trip. You can go there and stay for 90 days. They also have a bilateral agreement, so you can extend your...
Sorry, my dog was barking at that time. Okay.
Your visa, your Schengen visa, and stay in Latvia for an additional 90 days. And you can go ahead and apply for a retirement visa there. So their income requirements are in euros. You need 1,035 euros per month, or approximately $1,100 per month in income for the retirement visa. They also have a digital nomad visa, and 3,000 euros a month, or for 100.
Latvia has a lot going for it, at least in the summer. I'm not sure I want to go there in the winter. It's way up there by Finland, so it's cold in the winter, but has a lot of beautiful parks and trees, lots of rivers and lakes, and even enjoy in the summer. And history is incredible in that part of the world. I think I would really, really enjoy the history part of it. And it's an extremely safe country.
Besides the downside of the super cold winter, which maybe isn't a downside to you, but it is to us, you are going to need to learn some Latvian if you want to live outside of a major city.
Yeah, we've noticed that throughout Eastern Europe, actually, that the younger generation speaks English. So if you live in a city, it's going to be pretty easy. But if you get outside, the older generation, English is not nearly as common.
Number 6 on.
All right, that makes a lot of sense and a bit pricey, but I would definitely come through Latvia in a backpacking through Europe situation.
Easy, but if you get outside, the older generation, English is not nearly as common.
Number 6 on the list is Cyprus, and you get a 90-day tourist visa with Cyprus. Once you're there, you can apply for their residency permit, which is called the pink slip visa.
Interesting name. I wonder, do you get a car when you show up, or you apply for a visa, you get the pink slip?
No, but you get a long-term residency visa. There are some requirements, of course. This one does require a bank deposit of 24,000 euros. However, I put it on this list because I figured anything over 100,000 was a big deposit, at least in my mind. And then you also have to do an annual income requirement of 24,000 euros. So that comes out to be about 26,000 US dollars for the deposit, and then 26,000 for annual income. But what's great about this is that it can be from any source. So your pension, passive income, if you're working online, if you're a freelancer, however you make your money, you could use it to apply for this visa.
That's cool. Why Cyprus? Well, it's island living. So if you want island living in the Mediterranean, it's got a nice temperate climate most of the year there. It does get pretty hot in the summer, but it doesn't get real cold in the winter, so that's nice. There's a ton of history in that part of the world. It's a safe country, ranked level 1 by the State Department.
All right.
And there are expats from all over the world who live there. It's got good health care, and it's affordable, especially for an island. It's very affordable.
Yes, I find it very intriguing, especially the history part. Some of the downsides is that it can get pretty crowded in the popular areas during high season. Tourists like to go there. If you're really into an urban lifestyle, is probably to be the island for you. They do have bigger cities, but they're not going to be like a Paris or a London. And I think that you are going to pay more money if you want certain imported goods.
Number 5 on the...
All right, sounds like the European version of Florida, with minus all the crazy people. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You are going to pay more money if you want certain imported goods.
Number 5 on the list is Sri Lanka, just off the southeast coast of India. It's another island nation. We actually know a few people who have lived there and really like it.
For this one, you have to apply for their visa online, and you only get a 30-day visa, but you can do an extension, and you can apply for a retirement visa there as well. And the income requirement for that is $1,500 a month. They also do require a $15,000 deposit.
Another one with a deposit.
Yes.
That's not big, though. I mean, by some of these countries require $100,000 or $500,000 deposit. Pretty small if you look at it. But
Digital nomad visa they have approved it, but they have not implemented it yet. And I read that the income requirement for that will be $2,000 a month.
There are a lot of great things going for Sri Lanka. They had a rough patch a couple of years ago with their economy and stuff, but that seems to be mostly corrected now. People are super friendly there. They have fantastic food. There's a lot of nature reserves, so you can go see wild animals in their natural habitat. They've got beaches, mountains, jungles, and it's still really affordable for an island nation.
It is still ranked as a level 2, so it is a pretty safe country overall. They do have some issues with infrastructure. Once you get outside of the major cities, you may find some issues with your internet and cell phone connections out in the rural areas. And just like the other island of Cyprus, that cost of goods can be higher for things that are imported.
Number 4.
Yeah, look, somebody needs to sell Sri Lanka to me. That's right next to India. And seeing how bald and bankrupt treated that country, I'm sure it's not that bad. Come on now. I know they're 2 separate countries, but that's my reference point, y'all. Maybe with this whole globetrotting thing, I'll unlearn some bad Americanisms.
of Cyprus that cost of goods can be higher for things that are imported.
Number 4 is Vietnam. I had to say it that way. I just have to.
Yeah.
They have a tourist visa, and you can people who have lived in Vietnam for years doing visa runs every 90 days where they go and get their passport stamped in Cambodia or Thailand or some other country somewhere and go back and reset the clock. Unfortunately, they do not have like a real residency visa program. No retirement visa, no digital nomad visa. So even though you can't technically get a residency visa there, we know lots of people who have lived there for years on just this tourist visa.
Yes, and they love it. Vietnam has a lot going for it. It has the history, it has the incredible beauty, it has mountains and beaches and the food and the wonderful, friendly people.
Vietnamese food.
Yes, yes. It has a lot to, and incredible culture. It has a lot to enjoy.
Yeah, the downsides are the weather. It's hot and humid there. They can't get typhoons. In fact, they just had one hit Ho Chi Minh City last month. It was pretty flooding, and air quality is pretty bad, and it can be pretty noisy in the cities. But I think Amelia has a big downside for Amelia.
Yeah, not having a residency visa to me is a risk I'm not willing to take. Now, we slow travel. We've been slow traveling, so it's not like I am opposed to going and leaving after 90 days or whatever. But I would be really nervous of all of my stuff and go and do a visa run, because what if they don't let me back in the country?
That would be a downside.
That would be a major downside.
Number 3 on.
Yeah, that she brings up a good point about what if they don't let you back in. I guess it's just at the discretion of the border agents in Vietnam. But I actually do have a cousin on my mom's side of the family that had lived in Vietnam for quite some time through the company he works for. And in fact, I think he met his wife there, who she was from Malaysia but was living in Vietnam. I think I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, he's from what he's told me, Vietnam, it's dirt cheap to live, and all the culture there and the climate. I live in the southeast of the United States currently, so hot weather is nothing new to me. So that sounds good to me, though. Although that point about them not having a bit loosey goosey rules, that is a bit concerning. So I'll probably just up and leave after 90 days in that case.
If they don't let me back in the country,
That would be a downside.
that would be a major downside.
Number 3 on the list is the Philippines.
They also have a 90-day tourist visa. I'm kind of feeling like a broken record here. They have a special retirement visa. You need an income requirement monthly of $800 a month. Plus, you have to do a $20,000 deposit if you are 50 or over. Once you get your special retirement visa, it is indefinite, which I really like too, as long as you meet their physical presence requirement.
We've heard from a lot of our viewers who Philippines for years. They just go and do the extension, and they'll do a run, set the clock. And I guess you could do that. I mean, it's not officially documented in the Philippines and definitely tourist visa kind of program. I guess people.
I did crack down. And then I think you would have to go and leave and then come back and start the clock over. Continue to go in and get that tourist visa extension, and that they are starting to shorten the time now. So if you're comfortable doing that, and a lot of you out there are, then I think that's great. Personally, that is not for me. Just like the 90-day tourist visa and doing the tourist runs in Vietnam, I like the peace of mind of knowing I have a true residency visa.
Great thing about the Philippines is it's an English-speaking country. Almost everybody there speaks English. It's got beautiful beaches, lots of lifestyle options for your quality of life. It's very affordable despite some of the recent cost of living increases, and you get direct flights back to the US, although they're very long.
There are some downsides to consider. There is some crime in some areas. There's not running rampant throughout the country. It's rated as a level 2 by the travelstate.gov website. And some of the major cities can be very crowded and noisy.
Plus, you're going to have some earthquakes and typhoons. They do get hit by those occasionally. Next on our list,
All right, before we get to that, Pinoy community, come out. Tell me if they're right or wrong about a lot of that stuff. I mean, I guess the whole I've read some, not read, watched on YouTube some influencers that vlog about being an American expat living in the Philippines and how dirt cheap it's been, although they're suggesting that prices have gone up a bit, probably because all the passport bros came over. But let me know, like, are they starting to crack down on that 90-day visa thing? And basically 36 months, you gotta, you know, do the whole thing where you reset the clock, actually. So it's just something to keep in mind. But Philippines, it was on my bucket list even before we started checking out a lot of Pinoy content on ETG. So let us know.
Plus, you're going to have some earthquakes and typhoons. They do get hit by those occasionally. Next on our list, number 2 is Georgia, the country, not the state.
Okay.
And it is also rated level 1. A lot of people think Georgia is unsafe for whatever reason, but it's a level 1 according to the State Department.
Okay, so this is one of those countries where it is super easy because you get a 1-year tourist visa as an American passport holder. So you can truly just show up and move in, and I kind of like that.
Georgia has a ton of amazing history. It's a beautiful country. The government has been investing a lot in infrastructure in recent years, and it's really been growing a lot in popularity with tourists and expats and digital nomads, especially the capital of Tbilisi.
A couple of the downsides are that the people are more reserved there, which is just a cultural difference. It isn't a negative thing. And the housing prices
actually owns it. Has recently political in a lot of different parts of the world.
Yes.
So Georgia's not alone in that. Number 1. Our number
Okay. Before we get to number 1, I guess why people would think that the country of Georgia is unsafe is because of how close it is to Russia. That makes sense. But then again, with how things go in the States, maybe the state of Georgia will be just as dangerous. Who knows? Moving on.
in a lot of different parts of the world.
Yes.
So Georgia's not alone in that. Number 1. Our number 1 choice is Albania. One of our favorite places. We spent 4 months there so far this year, and we love it.
We do love it, and one of the reasons is because you can also just show up and move in. You get a 1-year tourist visa with an American passport. In other countries, you get a 90-day tourist visa, and they do have several different long-term residency visa options if you want to stay even longer. They call them their unique permits. So they have a retirement visa, and that one you just need a total of $11,250 in income per year. And they have a real estate visa, but they do not have the dollar amount provided. So you'd have to work with an agent to figure that out. And they also have a digital nomad visa. That one you need to make a $2,800 deposit, and you need to show an income of $300 a month.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's dirt cheap right there. But both the bank deposit and the $300 a month. I know many people that shit. Tell me more.
Very reasonably priced because it's a very affordable country.
We're huge fans of Albania, despite a lot of people's curiosity or confusion about that, but we think it's great.
Yeah.
We have a whole playlist. I think I'll put a link to our playlist for Albania up there because it's just got so much going for it. It's really on an upward trajectory. Investment and enter there. The people are super nice. The younger generation almost all speaks English there, so it's easy to communicate. They don't expect you to learn Albanian, which is nice because it is a tough language. If you want to live there long term, you're probably going to want to learn some of the language, and we know some expats who've been there a while and they're learning Albanian. It's got beautiful nature and beaches, mountains. There's a ton to do there.
Yeah, we really, really like it. The internet is awesome there, which if you're a digital nomad or you're still working online like us, that's really important. I think the reason that they are really trying to attract digital nomads is like older people too. They take good care of their old people from what we could tell.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty much just welcoming, period.
Yeah, they have a reputation of being having a lot of crime, but that's kind of an outdated perception. It's just not like that anymore. We walked around at night by ourselves. We saw kids out playing in the dark, in the parks, in the streets. We felt very safe the whole time we were there.
It is still developing, so there are some downsides, and one of it is that they don't have the full public transportation like we've seen in other European countries, but they are working on that, including building a new airport. Right now, there aren't any direct flights back to the US, so that makes it a bit of a challenge to get back, but I can't really think of a ton of downsides.
Yeah, before we talk about our honorable...
Wow. Albania. Wow, looks like a beautiful country, and if I remember my geography, it's like around the area of like Greece and Cyprus, not as close to like Russia, Ukraine. Right? That's what it's telling me, but so but yeah, that looks really good.
mention, we have a lot more of the visa details and the specifics in our visa matrix and our visa options report. Those are free as part of our Move Abroad Toolkit download. So check below for a link or scan this QR code and you can go download that right now. It's totally free.
I'm gonna download
We
that.
cannot leave this list or in this video without talking about our #1 favorite country that is so dear to us. And of course, that is Ecuador.
Yeah, Ecuador has a ton of visa options and the income requirements are pretty low. Like for the professional visa that I have, what is the income now? Zero.
Zero.
Actually, we're not supposed to do that. It's zero.
Oh, oops, I forgot. That's a bad
Greece
gesture.
and some other countries, that's a bad gesture. But anyway, it's zero. I'm not sure how you say zero with your hands in polite company.
I guess you don't.
Maybe it's like that. I don't know. Anyway, we still love Ecuador. The biggest issue it's having right now, it's not the crime. It's actually as safe as Colombia or Mexico or Belize. So if you're going to pretty much any of those other countries in Central and South America, it's about as safe. I mean, it's not as safe as Uruguay and Chile maybe, but it's not nearly as bad as the media makes it out. The bigger issue is the power outages that they're having. 80 to 90% of the electricity in Ecuador is generated from hydro, and they've been having the worst drought in like 100 years, and the rivers are dry, and so when there's no water, there's no electricity. So they're having rolling blackouts pretty much countrywide. That's the major downside right now.
It is, but we're really hoping they're being very aggressive trying to get this figured out. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that will go back to normal here soon. But
yeah, we need rain.
Yeah.
So whatever you believe, pray for it, hope for it, wish for it, do a dance for it, whatever. Just think about Ecuador and hopefully they'll get some rain soon.
We hear from our friends living in Ecuador all the time, and they are telling us that they are still happy living in Ecuador despite the power outages.
So let us know, did any of these countries surprise you? I know Latvia and El Salvador were really surprising to me. I was surprised when Amelia included those on the list. If you want to check out more countries where you can live.
All right, we'll end it there. But I guess they surprised me. I would say probably Albania. Like that surprised the hell out of me. And I mean, I don't know too much about this. I mean, obviously a lot of the Latin American countries, they seemed to be affordable and easy to get to. I guess the ones that are topping my list, like if money were not an option, I'll go if money is the factor here. I guess would be Brazil, El Salvador, and what was the second one on the list? Let me just scroll through here. Georgia, and of course the Philippines. Philippines was on my list already, so got a lot of great options to country hop for the next 4 years. So let me know in the comments of this video, what did they miss? What did they get right? What did they get wrong? What other countries should I be checking out? And what other things should I be looking for? Obviously, I'm doing my own research. I'm looking into the visas. What do I not need a visa for? What are the easiest visas to get? And yeah, things like cost of living and how much I'm going to need, and looking for good busking spots in a lot of these places, because that's going to be my other source of income, is playing my guitar on street corners and hopefully getting people to tip me in cash for that. So let me know, and thanks for watching. subscribe, watch more videos around my face, unplug, go do something legendary, and I hope that many of you watching will welcome in a lowly American who's just trying to have a better life. See you all next time.